Welcome back. Today I have in front of me two of the very common suppressors that we get around here. We have a Parker Hale rimfire suppressor and we have a SAK 22 suppressor as well. Both around the same price range, 50 to 60, 80 euro, and both for the same caliber. The SAK itself is a tiny bit tighter than the Parker Hale. Not a whole lot. I'll get the reading for you here now. The internal of the SAK is 7.1 millimeters. That's where the Parker Hale is a 7.6 millimeter. Not a big difference, but I guess if you wanted to run on a HMO, getting it slightly tighter, this one maybe do it. This also has more expansion for gas than this one, which would be better as well if you're shooting a faster round like the HMR. But as for all rimfires, the two of these are absolutely perfect and will run perfectly on them. As for materials they're made from, this guy here is all aluminium. It's anodized. It's pretty soft aluminium though. It's really easy. If you give it a bang, you're going to chip off some of that anodizing, and that'll be it. Especially then when you're cleaning it, when you're grabbing that sides of it here, you can easily chip it off if you have to use a tool to do it. The Parker Hale, which I've had for nearly 3 years, I guess, is much more durable. It's made all of steel, and there's steel threads in the bottom where this has aluminium threads, which to me, I'd go with steel threads every time. More precision, they won't wear out over time. But again, you're still talking about 60 euro suppressors. It's not the end of the world if you have to get a new one. What we did was we went for a quick test fire. We set a baseline with a Federal Champion bulk round just to get the sound off the gun with no muzzle device. We recorded 30 degrees from the muzzle, about maybe a foot away, and we recorded with a low level sound recorder so that we didn't top out, so we should have got all the proper audio from it. Also, we did just to see the difference, we recorded the screen of a phone with a sound recorder. Now, of course, the sound recorder isn't calibrated in any way, but it can give you a rough estimate of how one shot sounds to the other, because they'll be calibrated off each other. The differences should be always the same. We shot 2 supersonic rounds, one with the suppressor off and one with suppressor on, just to see what the sound levels difference were. It's never going to be as drastic of a difference as the subsonic rounds. Then we tried each suppressors with a subsonic round, and just to see the differences. Now, you'll see from yourself from the video, there's a massive difference with a subsonic round with no muzzle device versus a subsonic round with either of the suppressors. Which suppressor is better? It's hard to tell. They both do the job very nicely. I prefer the sound from the Parker Hale. It's a little bit more of a high pitched ting, but that just might be the materials it's made of. The Parker Hale, on the other hand, the SAK, on the other hand, I prefer the look of it. Shorter, wider. It's a bit more modern looking than the longer, skinny version. These guys are still in production. Not sure about these. Parker Hale had trouble a while back. I don't know if they got bought out and if they're still producing or not. But you can still pick them up. And they're all about the same price. So what we'll do now, we'll take a quick look at that video. Okay, it's a calibration shot. Standard velocity, Federal Champion. Supersonic round. In 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Do you want me to start a new file?
No. SAK 22 suppressor with the same round. In 3, 2, 1. Parker Hale 22 suppressor, same round. 3, 2, 1. Okay, onto subsonics. CCI subsonic, no muzzle device. 3, 2, 1. Putting on the SAK 22 suppressor. Same round, CCI subsonic. In 3, 2, 1. Parker Hale 22 suppressor. CCI subsonic, same round. In 3, 2, 1. Now that you've looked at the video and you make up your own mind which you prefer, but I want to show you really quick how to strip them. This guy here first, every suppressor has to be cleaned. If it's not going to be cleaned, it's going to get full of gunk, especially if you're shooting a lot of the bulk ammo, and even more so if you have a semi-automatic rifle. It just seems to gump it up even more. So this guy here, screw off the top. As I said before, it's all steel. It comes with this rod here, which you can shove up the back. It makes sure all the baffles are in line, and you lift them all out. There we go. And that's it. The tube there has a stop halfway down, so the baffle's actually sitting it like this. So you have a bit of an expansion chamber, and then you have the baffles themselves. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 steel baffles inside here. When they're in there and they're all lined up, have a little gap between them, and they can't sit flat on each other. You can see there, it's not an even opening, so the gas can go in and out between them. Not super hard to clean because they're steel. You could literally put them in a bag, and I know a couple of guys do this. They put them in like a little fabric bag and put them in the dishwasher, and it removes all the carbon from them and all the old powder, and they just oil them up, and off they go again. So it's nice and simple. Or you can go through each of them with a little scrubber and scrub all the dirt off them. You wouldn't have to clean them until a couple of thousand rounds have gone down. It's not going to make that much difference, but you don't want to leave them so long that the gunk is going to start falling off inside the suppressor when you take a shot and causing other bad stuff to happen. So drop this back in here. There we go. And you screw on the stopper from the top. You drop this down the top. It keeps everything in line as you tighten it up. And pull it back out. Just take a quick look down and you can see nothing but blue. So making sure that your baffle will never touch your bullet on the way out. Then on the other hand, we have a SAK. These guys definitely have to be cleaned less just because there's more space inside them, but they do have to be cleaned. If you don't, it's going to fill up so much with gunk that I've seen them being tapped on tables and just shit fall out of them. So just screw off the top. There's no seals on these. I've seen guys modifying them to put seals on, little rubber seals to keep the gas in better. But that's all. There's 3 pieces. You have the main body here with the baffles. With I suppose we can count the front one. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 7 baffles if you count it that way, or 6 depending if you count the first one. It's literally a soft aluminium tube with bores drilled through it and a bore line straight down the middle. And that's all there is to it. And all you got to do is get your little bore brush and put some degreaser on it, or Hoppe's number 9. Just give it a quick scrub off. And you're done. There's nothing to it. It's not hard to clean, and it's not hard to take apart. Slide it back together here again. And a good idea when you're putting these back together as well is get a little bit of copper grease and just put it on the threads, and it makes it a lot easier to take apart next time. It won't bind up, and the heat won't evaporate the oil because they get a little bit warm. And that's your suppressors there. And when you're cleaning suppressors, it's always a good idea to wash your hands and clean your nails directly afterwards, or else wear gloves, just because the residue of the powder is toxic, and if it's left under your nails and for long enough, in some cases it can cause nerve damage. But clean your fingernails and wash up after you and you should be fine. But yeah, they're the two suppressors. They're same price, they do the same job. If I had to take one, I think I'd take the Parker Hale, even though I prefer the way the SAK looks, just because I prefer the way it sounds, and it's a bit more rugged, and because it's made of steel and the thread is made of steel, you know it's never ever going to get cross-threaded. It's always going to get on there nice and square, and it's all good to go. As is where this one, even though it's they're about the same weight, this one is all aluminium in the back, and it's not the easiest thing to put on. Sometimes you line up the barrel and you're twisting and you're waiting for the threads making contact and it jams. You got to go back and go forward. I just prefer the steel construction of these. Now, if these had a steel core, I take these every single time, but I prefer the steel design of these guys. But yeah, that's my little quick review and demonstration on the two little rimfire suppressors. As with any of my videos, if you want to get any more information, just ask a question below. I'll get straight back to you. And if you liked the video, if you found it entertaining or you learned anything from it, like and subscribe down the bottom of the video there, and it'll help me out, and I'll be able to show you more cool stuff. Alright guys, see you later.